Welcome, Sainers. Welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the St Kilda trade wrap video. And I say trade wrap because it was a pretty quiet one. So I don't want to be too pessimistic in this video because, I know that that's kind of what's circulating at the moment. I'll talk about my frustrations. I'll talk about why I think maybe we did what we did, but we'll go from the start. This is a wrap video, so we'll go from the very top to the very bottom to the last day where, pretty much nothing happened. But there were a couple of little rumors circulating that could have been fairly big and probably would have been silly in the end when you look at what we were looking to get done or supposedly looking to get done. But straight off the bat, we'll talk about the summary, exactly what happened. So we've got it right here. For those at home wondering what draft picks we've got at the moment, we have got pick 9, which will probably become pick 10 with Ashcroft going to Brisbane under the father-son. And then you've got 28, 32, and 47. So that comes off the back of a couple of list changes. We've got Dara Joyce, Dean Kent, both delisted, Jaron Geary, Dan Hanbury, and Paddy Ryder all retiring. Traded in for nothing, basically. Zane Cordy from the Bulldogs, premiership player. Backline depth is supposedly what we're looking at there, though he can play forward. And then you've got traded out, only the one player, Benny Long, for pick 32. I believe we gave Ben Long and a future 4th rounder, and we got pick 32 back from the Gold Coast Suns. And this is from 7 Sport. This is the verdict, and it's pretty damning. They said the Saints missed out on a big fish after making a massive play for Jordan De Goey. We'll talk about that. They boosted their defensive stocks with Cordy, but it was a disappointing trade period for a club that remains middle of the road. Rating 2 out of 10. Mitch Cleary dug the boots in a little more and said St Kilda started the trade period stating that they've got good players but needed top-end talent. Zane Cordy, the only arrival as depth, missed on De Goey, didn't replace Paddy Ryder with a mature ruck forward, didn't improve our early draft hand. Quite an underwhelming fortnight for the Saints. So that was from Mitch Cleary yesterday. So, yeah, it's That's kind of the frustration. So it looks like from the outside that Jordan De Goey is really the one that we wanted, and we put a lot of our eggs into that basket. And we get, from reports from people that I've spoken to, we did get close. We got very close there, but we always knew that if Collingwood were going to back off on the behavioural clauses, that he was always going to stay. So it wasn't a surprise in the end. I think we were holding on to the faintest of hopes of getting someone of the caliber of Jordan De Goey away from one of, or if not the biggest club in the AFL. Coming out of, off a prelim final and, not looking like they're going to drop anytime soon. And they got a few good players in the end, so they're going to be on the up. So him recommitting there is no surprise, and I think he's going to sleep easy knowing that that's his decision. For us, kind of left us in that moment where I think, based on what I saw from yesterday and what Gallagher said, and even what our new head of football, Jeff Walsh, mentioned, we looked like we pivoted a little bit. Jeff Walsh was funny. He kind of said that we want top-end talent. So whether that's from the draft or from ready-made talent, I don't know. I don't know what he was alluding to. For me, it kind of felt like he wanted ready-made talent. He wanted the Dunkleys. He wants the De Goeys. He wants the 25 to 28-year-olds ready to go, gun footballers in the club. Now, Gallagher has also come out and said, well, now it looks like we're pivoting towards backing in our youth. And that comes off the back of not letting Hunter Clark go to North Melbourne and keeping Jack Bytel. So 2 players there that were rumoured the whole trade period to be on the out, we've retained. Now, that's not for the lack of trying to get a trade done. From reports with Hunter Clark, he wanted to go to North Melbourne. North Melbourne wanted him. I think from what we looked at yesterday, we potentially offered pick 9 and Hunter Clark for pick 3 for us to move all the way to the top tier of the 2022 National Draft. Obviously, North Melbourne said no deal to that. And I think their initial offer for Hunter Clark was a future 2nd round and 3rd round pick, which we obviously were going to say F no to that. That's not happening. We want a 1st round pick. Now, I think it would have been silly of us to get rid of Hunter Clark and pick 9 you're losing basically 2 first-rounders. He was a first-round pick in his own right with 50 or 60 games under his belt now, and then you're giving up pick 9 just to get pick 3. I think that would have been silly of the club to do, and I think it's pretty silly that it was even raised, to be honest. I'm hoping that was just a false rumour, but if we did go to them with that, we're silly, and we're lucky that they're silly enough to not take it. So in the end, Hunter Clark is a Saint. He's contracted for next year, and that is it. So it's going to be an interesting watch in 2023 what happens there with Hunter Clark. Hopefully, it's that sort of situation where we can just get the best out of him and we can move on from this. We saw this with Josh Dunkley a year ago, and now he's at Brisbane. So that year at the Dogs, he won the best and fairest. He had a great year. That didn't change his mind. He still wanted to get to Brisbane. I wonder if next year, if we have a good year, we play finals, does that change Hunter Clark's mind? I really hope so, because he's the sort of players that I believe we need to invest in, and we know that he's capable of becoming a very, very good player. He's had some bad luck in the last couple of years with injury, but that's not his own fault. It's not like he's got soft tissue injuries. It's just really unfortunate events that have happened on the footy field. So I really want the club to back him, get around him, and hopefully we can get the best out of him and keep him around. And Jack Bartel, there was a little bit of interest from Essendon, I believe, but that was nothing happened there, and it's good to retain him as well. So it's just interesting seeing, at the initial start of the trade period, it was Degoe, get the guns. We've got good players, we need A-grade players. Then suddenly that doesn't happen. No other player wanted to come to the club, so that's another key takeout, is that we're not the destination club we used to be. We didn't make finals, and there were a lot of other clubs that could offer more and maybe even less, and the players were keen to go there. Jack Bowes and pick 7 was a key example. We could easily have paid for his back-ended contract, but he wanted to get to Geelong because Geelong are a well-oiled machine. They've just come off a flag, dominated the season. Why wouldn't you pick Geelong? And they get pick 7. So Geelong just doing what they do best, had a great trade period and got good players in and really didn't lose that much. We, on the other hand, came out of it probably no worse, but not really that better off. Ben Long, we lost Ben Long. He's probably a 2 or 3 good game a season player at the moment. He might be better at the Gold Coast Suns, so I think pick 32 is okay. But to just get Zane Cordy in is a bit hard to take. I know that they said that we wanted to invest in our youth and back that in and hit the draft, but you're hitting the draft with pick 9, and then after that it's pick 28, and it's a raffle after that in terms of players. So if you're going to say you hit the draft, I wish we could have gone and somehow traded 28, 32, and even 47. Give all that up and get a pick in the teens. Go 9 and go 15. We got 2 picks in the top 20. I would have loved that. It just seems like we didn't have the ambition. We didn't have the balls to make sort of plays for those sort of deals. Like you see other clubs and they were trading picks and getting picks back and offloading those for players. It just seemed like we had a very narrow-minded approach to this year's trade period. And usually, we're pretty astute with that sort of stuff, but this year it just seemed like it was pick 9, we're keeping that, and that was it. And I'm kind of happy that we backed ourselves in terms of positives. We didn't do anything stupid with pick 9. We didn't get any players in that cost a lot. We got Zane Cordy and he cost nothing. We got Ben Long out. He wanted to go to Gold Coast. We couldn't do much to keep him. We get pick 32 in return. But to trade pick 9 for maybe 2 later picks, or maybe go 9 and try and get 7 or go up a bit in the draft would have been good. It just seemed like after we did the Zane Cordy deal, it was kind of, that was it. But the good thing is, we didn't go for Kyle Hartigan, although I think the delisted free agency is in a couple of weeks, so maybe there's a chance we could still get him, but I hope we don't. Zane Cordy's kind of good enough in that position. And then, there was Sam Wiedemann who wanted to go to Essendon. And then a couple of other players that we're linked to, even Lockie Hunter was one. He's gone to the Ds. Brodie Grundy we could have looked at, and I think we did for a split second, but he's obviously gone to Melbourne. It would have been good to maybe have him team up with Rowan Marshall. Could have been interesting. And Collingwood's obviously, I think, paying some of his contracts, so could have been a decent trade there. He didn't cost much at all for Melbourne apart from his salary. And it just seems like, I know that it's nice to hear that we're investing in our youth, but it just feels like, why wasn't this done sooner? What was the strategy from Gallagher in other years? And then why didn't we do that last year? Why didn't we invest in our youth last year? And we've just left it late. It's just like we're trying to copy other teams now. I just wish we had a clearer strategy. Like the start of this trade period, literally a week ago, it was a completely different strategy to a week later. And I mean, I know that happens, depending on trades and players leaving, you got to pivot. We've just gone full, complete change of our radar in terms of what we want. First, it was A-grade talent. Now it's invest in youth. Why wasn't it, why couldn't it just been invest in youth at the very start? So, yeah, that's kind of where my mind is at with this window. I don't think it's shocking. It's just meh. I've said that from the start. It's just, cool. No ambition, really, and we're really hoping that the players that we've got, they're really backing that we've got the players already. We just need to get the best out of them. So you just wonder, if we don't have a good year next year, who's to blame? Is it Gags for not getting players in? Is it Rats? Because clearly we're saying, we've got the right players, Rats. You need to get the best out of them. And what if he doesn't? What then? So it's a risky game we're playing. I don't think we were going to do too much. Like we weren't going to... Jordan to go was kind of the most extreme we were going for, because at the very start of the window, Gallagher said, yes, it's going to be a quiet window, Saints fans, so don't expect much. But I just wish that we kind of looked around. Like Griffin Logue, we got players like that leaving. We could have easily tried to interject and gone for Dunkley, even just gotten into the conversation. I don't care if you don't get the deals done. Just try and cause some problems with other deals. If there's a delay in the Hopper deal, which I think there was, try and get in there. I know you wanted to go to Richmond, but things can change. And maybe behind the scenes we were trying to do a lot of that. So I'm not going to critique Gags too much. Obviously, he's done some good deals previously, but you just look at the strategy from 2020. We're getting in Zach Jones, Brad Hill, Paddy Ryder, Dougal Howard, Dan Butler, these sort of guys. Is that strategy, is that thrown out the window now? Like, we're investing in youth now. So are we giving up on that? Or are we saying that, okay, cool, we've ticked the boxes on the established players we need. We just need to invest in some youth now. Or are they saying, great, we invested in that. We thought we were closer to a flag than we were. That didn't come off. And now we're suddenly back to square one and we're going for youth. Even though our draft hand is literally pick 9, we might get Cam McKenzie from it. We may not. And our strike rate in terms of first-round picks in the last 10 years is absolutely deplorable. I think I was chatting to someone and they said it's basically 16% strike rate on players that we've gotten in the first round and whether they've been retained 5 years later or so. So you really hope that our record with first-round picks improves. Because if we're investing in youth, you'd really hope that our development is kind of the key pillar that we focus on in the next 12 to 24 months. And does this take us to the next level? Like, does it doesn't really fill you with that much sort of encouragement on like, yes, this year we started the year well, halfway mark we're 8-3, and now we just need to top up on a few things. It's more game plan, it's more internal growth, and we'll be good. But it just feels like there is more than that. Like, we do need more A-grade talent. We do need to get more guns in. We do need to invest in our youth and invest in the players that we've already got. But at the same time, we needed another tall, like a proper tall. We needed another ruck. Lloyd Meek was around. I think did he go to Hawthorn in the end? I don't even know. Like, there were other players around that we could have tried to get. We could have tried to get those in, but it just didn't eventuate. And obviously, we can put our hands up and say, yeah, we want all the players in the world. But at the end of the day, players need to want to come to St Kilda. And that was a key thing with Jack Bowes, is that everyone was saying, Jakey, why didn't we go for Bowes in 7? It's like, I think we kind of inquired, but he wanted to get to Geelong. And you can't do much else when players don't want to come to your club. So we really need to we've gotten, finances in place. We've gotten off-field stuff in place. The facilities are great. We really need to just start winning games now and being a consistent performer, during the season. And by that, I mean making finals the next couple of years in a row. No bullshit. Like, we need to make finals, because the longer this goes on where we don't make finals, the longer the best teams just get all the best players. There's no such thing as equalisation in the AFL. You look at Geelong, you look at Richmond getting Taranto and Hopper. It's just non-existent. So the best teams are going to stay good. We really need to buck the trend here and start climbing ladder positions, because if we don't, players aren't going to want to come to Moorabbin unless we pay overs. Brad Hill and these guys, they came to St Kilda because we were willing to pay them a lot of money. But that's not a long-term strategy. That's something that 2 years down the track, if they're not performing like Brad Hill this year, it's a bad investment and we want to get rid of them, or they want to leave. In the end, we keep Brad Hill and we pay him the big bucks. But it's not a strategy that, puts you in a good position. You look at Grundy, you look at You look at Treloar, you look at these sort of players that have heavily back-ended contracts. It's not sustainable. And even Collingwood have thought, they've bit the bullet. They've said, no, you're out. We can't afford you. And they get players and picks back. We haven't done that. We weren't ballsy enough to really do that. So I'm just hoping that with the draft, with pick 9 in particular, we can absolutely nail that. And try and get a really good player in, because obviously last year, we were very lucky last year. People say we did do well at the draft. We got Nasiah, we got Windy, we got Owens, these sort of guys. But Owens and Windy were our academy boys, so that was luck. We just needed points to get it done. It's not like we scouted them and we got them with picks. It was academy. We knew how good they were. We just needed points to get them. We got that done. But in terms of general draft, like even with Nasiah, we don't really know yet. Have we pick the right player? Because there were a lot of good players around that mark we could have got. So it's going to be a big year for Nasiah next year. It's a big year for the club. Our 150th anniversary. Obviously, this is not a shocking trade period. Well, some people will say it's a shocking trade period, obviously. The delisted free agency opens on November 3rd, so we'll see what happens there. But again, it's just, we're not really getting... Zane Cordy is a top-up player, but is he a player that you can immediately say he's in our best 22 next year, round 1? No. For me, no. Our backline was our strength this year. I thought we needed more mids. We needed more players around the ground, more rotations, like a Lockie Hunter. He goes for a third-round pick, Lockie Hunter. You're telling me we couldn't use something like that? I don't know. I just feel like there was more opportunities there, but we had such a clear, narrow-minded view that we weren't willing to deviate and look at other options outside of what we thought we needed. And that leaves us in a pretty precarious position. We don't really know what this squad's going to be like next year. We don't know. Are we ready to take the next step? We thought we were at the halfway mark this year. And again, we continually say we need more A-grade players. So we couldn't get them in the trade period. We're going to get them in the draft, hopefully, but that's 5 years down the track. We need kind of an influx of talent right off the bat. So we need players like Gresh, Hunter Clark, Caulfield, Windy, Owens, King, these sort of guys to come back next year and not have a warm-up year. They need to really start delivering. And that's when hopefully we'll start to see some more results go our way, and hopefully we'll be finals bound. But at this point in time, with the trade period that we had, 2 out of 10 they've given us, and that's probably accurate. No, it wasn't great. It was pretty underwhelming, considering how much we thought we needed, in terms of improvement from getting more tools, maybe support forwards. In the end, we get Zane Cordy, and that's about it. And we lose Ben Long. So that's kind of my wrap on the trade period, Saners. I was really pissed off yesterday, and now I'm kind of like, are we really just backing in what we've got, or is this just kind of, a fallback sort of strategy on shit? Well, we put all in on Degoe, that didn't come off, and now we're just going to back in what we've got. Is that just kind of the ultimate backup plan? I don't know. I actually don't know what the clear strategy is, but I'm sure in the next couple of weeks we'll hear more from Gallagher. We'll hear more from Jeff Walsh and from the club as well, and we'll see what the future holds for the Saners in the rest of the window, and then obviously we've got the draft at the end of November, which I'll talk about in the next couple of weeks. So I'm very interested to hear your thoughts, Saners. I've read a mixed bag. There's obviously a fair bit that's really frustrated out there, but then there's a couple of people I've read that are like, if we have a bit more perspective, maybe we needed Cordy. He'll top up. He'll give us some support. He's definitely better than Darragh Joyce. I'm still a bit skeptical on that. And then, we just hope that we come back stronger and the players that we've already got lift and go to the next level. But it's a very risky game, as I said at the start, to hope that just players that we've already got suddenly turn into A-graders. So, maybe that added pressure will get them to that level, but there's no harm in topping up with a couple of guns in the trade period. But again, we had minimal picks to trade. We didn't want to trade pick 9. That kind of ties our hands a little bit, and you could only really go for out-of-contract players and players that really the clubs wanted to ship them on, like a Brodie Grundy sort of player, but obviously he was linked to Melbourne and they were kind of always going to get that done. So we leave the trade period with Zane Cordy in, Ben Long, and I believe pick 32. Zane Cordy in, pick 32 in, and then out Ben Long, and that is it. So that is the trade period for 2022 Saners. Thank you again for watching these videos and for all the Trade Talk videos. They were really well received, a lot of views, a lot of comments, a lot of likes, a lot of new subscribers from it as well. And quick reminder for that, please subscribe to the channel and let's hit 5,000 subs very soon. Comment your thoughts on the trade period. What did you want to get out of it? You know, what are the downsides? Was there a player out there that we could have gotten with what we had? Or, you know, just give me your thoughts in general. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, and I'll comment when I can. And obviously like the video, and as I mentioned, subscribe to the channel as well. So I'll leave it there, Sainers. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. That'll be potentially next week, Saints TV Weekly on Monday. So thanks again, Sainers. Enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.